Tipp today in association with Slattery's of Pecan, your main Peugeot dealer for over 50 years in the Premier County. Slattery'sGarage.ie.
And you're very welcome back to Tipp Today, 1800 938 007. Now, we continue our journey through the memories of the Showband era, and many of the musicians from that time are still writing and performing, and my next guest is certainly one of them. Singer-songwriter Shay Fyfe, originally from the band Lucky Numbers, has just released his single Kiss and Make Up, and I'm delighted to say that Shay is with me here in the Nenagh studio. Good morning to you, Shay.
Good morning to you, Fran. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you today. The moment I mention Lucky Numbers, I'm sure memories will flood back to people.
What I remember basically compared to today, Fran, was travelling the roads. It was a 4-hour trip to Dublin. You were going through every town on the way there, and
no motorways.
No motorways, and things that happened to us in adventures in the north. Like the British government still owed me for a tyre. Like, by the way.
Do they? Will you tell us about that particular story, will you?
Well, we just barely crossed the border one night. It was pitch black, and a tyre went out on us, and we went back to the road a bit. And one of the spikes, they used to use on the roadblocks, one of the spikes was not fully down. It was up a small bit.
Right.
So we were just sitting there wondering we better start changing the tyre. We heard footsteps coming down a dark road, and this British soldier appeared, cradling a machine gun, right?
Wow.
Now, some of the more naive guys in the band said to me, like, isn't he a very brave man to come down on his own? But we were covered from every angle, probably.
Of course, behind ditches.
Yeah.
I
knew. So he said to me, what happened, mate? So I said, the tyre blew out because of the thing back the road. He said, okay. He says, up to this looked like a little shed. But we went inside, Fran, the technology in there.
Go on.
Oh, it was serious.
Monitoring everything.
Everything. Parabolic mics, that's everything. So I signed this chit, and I was supposed to get refunded by the government.
And you didn't.
Never happened.
So they still owe you
They still owe me for a tyre.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
Will you take me back to the origins of Lucky Numbers? Just for people who might know, I always viewed Lucky Numbers as a pop show band. Would that be accurate?
We were never a show band.
Yeah.
No, we never were. Three of us, myself, my brother Larry, and Mick Sheehy, a friend of ours, very good friend of ours, almost a brother actually, we were playing together a band called Abel Kane. And we just decided to form a band. Originally, we went into the country market because Jerry Madigan from the Cotton Mill Boys got onto us, but that really wasn't our market, so we went into the pop band. We ended up with 2 drummers at one stage.
Go on.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. We were in a ballroom once, and this lady upstairs making the tea said, "You're not going to play the 2 of them together, are we?" No. So one's a spare because he breaks down. But we were more the pop end of things, definitely.
Yeah, but you were experimenting with the whole thing along those years, weren't you?
I suppose we were because we felt that it was our kind of music, and we were never a show band, but we were always consider ourselves a group band, if you know what I mean.
And we're talking about the 1980s here, aren't we? The early 1980s.
Yeah, you definitely are. Yeah, I mean, we used to play, and that's actually how I met the guy I'm working with now, Enda White. He's Enda. We were playing in the National Ballroom in Dublin. Enda just strolled into the dressing room. A Monaghan guy, he's one of those guys, and within 10 minutes, we all felt we knew him all our lives. And he's been a great friend to me ever since. He does all the videos for the stuff now. He's actually the official video for the record is coming out tomorrow, Wednesday, and that'll be Enda's work,
Fantastic, yeah.
We refer to him as Cecil B. Demented. He does all that work, that's his thing.
Yeah.
But he's been a magnificent help,
It's amazing the way the technology has developed over the years, hasn't it,
Frightening, friend. I mean, when I think the way we record before, the way compared to what we can do now, like I work with GarageBand, and I send it to Enda, and he has Pro Tools.
This is all software, just for people about to be sure. This is music software.
Software, yeah. What can be done?
It's just incredible, isn't it?
It's incredible, just on a computer, and
the
way things can be.
What did you do for your first recordings back in the 80s? Where did you work, or who did you work with?
We used to work in Trend Studios.
Did you? Yeah, in Dublin, yeah.
Yeah, in Dublin, yeah. They were basically all done in Trend, which was a great studio.
Lovely studio. I worked in it many
great
times.
Even for the record. Now, the record was originally, the original version was out in 1981, and it was in the Irish charts. Actually, it made the Irish charts. So what we did is we've taken, there again I'm being technical, but stems.
Yes.
String stems now from the original track, and we worked on it from that on. Built it up from there.
It's very good, and we're going to have a listen to it in a little while. Do you often? I can't get over, since we started doing this and looking back on the show bands and stuff. The interest in it is absolutely huge. Does that surprise you?
No, it doesn't, because the amount of people who used to go to the ballrooms.
Yeah.
They just didn't vanish.
Yeah.
They still have the interest in. It's a nostalgic thing in a way, I suppose, looking back. But no, it doesn't surprise me that there's still an interest in it at all. In the music.
And do you still find people coming up to you and saying, "I danced to you back in 1980"?
You do, yeah.
You do,
yeah. And people say, "I met my wife at your dance," or you get that kind of thing. Not as much lately, but you still get it. You still get it.
Where I saw lucky numbers a lot of times in the Golden Veil in Dundrum, which was such a wonderful gig there, wasn't it?
Great venue.
Yeah.
Absolutely great venue. Actually, even Tipp was always even with the record now. Yourself, Tipp, Larry McLaughlin down the road. He played, and Tipp Midwest.
Yeah.
So
they're playing.
Tipperary town is Tipperary has been good to us. Well, I live in Tipp.
Yeah.
I'm in Newport in County Tipp, so my mother was a Tipp woman, so there's a connection, I suppose.
Very good indeed. And Newport is gorgeous, of course, as well. And did you continue to play then all the time? When did the band finish up?
We actually finished. We were involved in an accident coming out of Bantry in 1994. And it was a frightening kind of an accident, but we all survived, thanks be to goodness. But after that, we were off the road for a wee while, and it's just hard to reform the same thing. So we just drifted into different things,
Yeah.
I drifted into playing with a guy in bars and, doing weddings and all. And that was the sort of scene I took over in my life then.
Yeah.
That was 1984. Yeah, that was the year coming out of Bantry.
My God Almighty! So it was a close shave, was it? Yeah.
It was. It really was.
So was that a kind of a wake-up call then? For being on the road? And...
No, I always felt. You always felt a little bit of danger when you headed out at night.
Yeah.
Like even the night of the Miami situation.
Yeah, sure.
We were in the north that very night.
Wow.
And we'd come home.
And you got the news.
Oh, mother just called me in the morning and said, "Get up and listen to the news," right? And the sister, it was amazing. The sister went to attempt to go to work 3 times and came back and said, "We're not going to the north tonight, are you?" We were due in the north again the night after,
And of course, the business in the north end was killed for quite a while after that.
It was a sea change, Frank. Yeah. It was a sea change for the business because we used to play in the north quite a bit.
Yeah, of course,
yeah. You'd go through towns, and people these days would find it hard to understand. Blacked out completely.
Yeah.
We broke down one night actually outside in Cookstown in the middle of the street, and I went into the.
Roughly what year are you talking about now?
You'd be talking sometime between 84, 94, maybe 87, maybe that kind of situation.
Yeah, but the Troubles were very much in...
They were, yeah, and we broke down inside. So the only thing I could do was I went into an RUC barracks.
Wow.
To ask them, do they know of any mechanic or anything, and they were very nice
Were
to
they
us.
courteous to you?
They were very courteous, except one thing that made me nervous. There was a guy down the back with a machine gun, and he seemed to be a bit inebriated, let's put it that way.
Oh.
And I said, if a car backfires outside now, I'm going to hit the dirt because he's going to think he's been attacked or something.
Isn't
All
it?
little adventures like that,
It's amazing. But bands continue to play up there because, of course, it was lucrative and there was a lot of work up there, as you say. It was,
When you consider the time the sterling
Yeah, I know.
versus the Irish pound,
Yeah.
you were talking something like 15%.
What did you make of, people like Bob, who do you call him, out of the Boomtown Rats, giving out about Showband musicians and, saying, they were only copying records and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
What did you make of that?
We met Bob Geldof in the canteen in RTE one night, and a nicer guy you wouldn't meet. But I think he was in this little bubble,
Yeah.
and he didn't see the kind of music that was being. I mean, there were bands on the road at the time. I mean, the Freshmen,
The standard of the
the
musicianship.
standard was unbelievable. I mean, probably better than the Boomtown Rats, if the truth is known. I mean, we recorded "Proud to be Irish" as a sort of a comeback to his Banana Republic.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
But a nicer guy you wouldn't meet, but I think he was just in that little bubble, and which was successful for him. I can't deny that.
Yeah.
But I think he was wrong.
Yeah, I think he was wrong too,
Yeah.
because as you say, Billy Brown from the
Billy
Freshmen
Brown.
was one of the most talented people I ever came across.
In my life, I mean, he's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, the harmonies those guys could put together.
Yeah,
was
absolutely.
just
And Errol Gill, Paul Little,
Oh,
I mean,
all the
wonderful.
guys that were there,
players,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to relieve before we went formed a band for the band, all the bands, Time Showband and all. Well, I mean, I used to watch the guitar player from the side of the stage, and we were doing a song at the time, which I used about 4 chords on. He used about 24. I suddenly said to myself, "An absolute great musicians."
Yeah.
It woke you to the fact that if you were to get into the business, you had to really practice because they were great musicians.
They were top class indeed, and they wanted to earn a wage and a living.
They did, yeah.
And
I mean,
why they went on the road, yeah.
A lot of them came from groups in Dublin, which were very successful.
Yeah, and jazz backgrounds.
That's
and all
it,
sorts of-
yeah. But they went into to make money in the bands, and who can blame them?
Well, who can blame them, indeed. Do you often think back on it all yourself? I mean, is it something you go back to in your own head?
It's almost like a line from a song I was trying to write years ago. Like, your past is like Atlantis, lost and gone forever, lost beneath the swirling seas of time.
Yeah.
And that, in a way, that's what it seems like. There was someone else living back there than me.
Does it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean, all the things. I mean, you must remember from your own days for a friend. It must seem like it was another guy doing it at times.
You hit the nail on the head, because I often think back to some of the stuff we did and where we went and stuff. And it's somebody else.
There was a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, a guy called Germini. He used to go and see the birds. He'd tell me about the birds all the time, I mean, and they were a very successful band,
Yeah, it did very well for a few years, but my psychiatrist said I'll be fine after a while more. But there you go. Was there a highlight along the way for you? Was there something that sticks out as being a...
What was very good for us at the time was, believe it or not, was going to England. The English, I mean, you'd be in the National Ballroom on a Saturday night, like
Kilburn, yeah.
with 2,200 people, And
It's incredible, wasn't it?
It was, but for the young diaspora, it was, they'd be out talking to us in the wagon after, and they'd say, "We'd love to go home with you right now." There was young kids over there,
And this was the 80s, of course, so
it was
there was
early,
nothing for them
nothing
here.
for them here.
Nothing,
And they were over in England, and they didn't want to be there. They would have given anything to be home, but that was the financial situation. They couldn't be,
It's very sad, isn't it?
Very
Yeah.
sad. It was very sad. It was very sad to see,
And earlier again, I remember Margot talking about meeting particularly the single fellas who went over there and they took to the old drink and, they were living
That's
in
right, yeah.
very unfortunate situations.
Yeah.
A lot of it was sad like that.
Very
wasn't
sad.
it,
Very
Yeah.
sad. I mean, the diaspora, what they had to go through, and from what I've heard, and talking to guys is, they talk about being treated badly, but they were treated badly by their own people a lot of the time.
Yeah. I heard that time and time again.
Yeah.
The foremen, when they were Irish, they were tougher on them then.
The foreman was an Irish guy, and like no mercy for the guys, you know. They didn't get an easy life, you know. I mean, you wouldn't blame them to cut loose on the weekend, really. And I suppose the booze was a release. Wasn't it just? And of course, they were paid in the pubs as well. So they were giving their money in the pubs. So what else? It was all set up, wasn't it? So tell me about Kiss and Make Up then. You said this was originally a Lucky Numbers track, but you've kind of reimagined it in some way. We've kept completely to the same arrangement. But just, you know, it's a modern recording. I like to think it's a better recording because we spend a lot of time on it, you know. Of course, yeah. And you have a video coming out? The official video, Enda tells me he's bringing it out tomorrow. Very good indeed. Where can people access your music and the videos and all of this? Well, the video is going up on Facebook, and anyone can see it there. Under your own name? Yes. Okay. And the records is sent, well, Deborah Dowling, who sends it out to all the stations. So all the stations should have it if people want to request it or have a listen to it. So that's the way it is. Very good. Well, we're going to have a listen to it now. What are the plans? Have you other plans for more music coming up, Shay? Well, in this business, friend, the saying I have is, you're one song away from the money. You know, it's another song I was trying to write. But like, I mean, you keep hoping that you'll throw mud against the wall and some of it will stick and something will happen. You know, you never know. All right. Well, but it's a hobby and it's keeping me going at the minute. Yes, I go. Well, I think this is very good and it's a great production and sounds terrific. We're going to have a listen to it now. Shay, pleasure. Pleasure. And Fran, thanks again for having me. I really appreciate it. You're very welcome indeed. Let's have a listen to this. This is called Kiss and Make Up. Kiss you goodnight. I can remember a time it used to be me. That was before the night you set me free. Now the mood is out and stars, they shine so bright. Oh, how I wish we were still in love tonight. Let's kiss and make up. We're not happy apart. Let's kiss and make up the night you left. You know you took away a piece of my heart. Let's kiss and make up. I'm still in love. Kiss and make up. We're not happy apart. Let's kiss and make up the night you left. You know you took away
Yeah, I really, really like that. That's Shay Fyfe. It's called Kiss and Makeup, and Shay, formerly of Lucky Numbers. 1800 938 007.
Tipp FM's Tip Today.
With Slattery's Garage, hook on. Main Peugeot dealers in the Premier County. And now stocking the full range of the luxury French car brand DS Automobiles. Book your test drive today with Slattery's Garage, hook on. See slatterysgarage.ie.